Today we're diving into something massive, something that could reshape the world as we know it. Picture this: April 2nd, 2025. Donald Trump, back in the White House for his second term, declares it America's Liberation Day and slaps massive tariffs on over 60 countries. We're talking basic tariffs plus an extra layer of hefty duties, and guess who's at the center of this storm? China. Buckle up, because this escalating trade war between the US and China might just be the tipping point for something much bigger, like a third world war in Asia. Stay with me until the end for the full breakdown. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's set the stage. As of today, April 10th, 2025, Trump's administration has unleashed a tariff tsunami. Over 60 countries are hit with not just the standard duties but additional taxes that pile up to insane percentages. Developing nations are scrambling, begging for relief, negotiating to lower or ditch these tariffs. But China? Oh, they're not backing down. Beijing fires back with a 34% tariff on American goods. Not to be outdone, the US retaliates with a jaw-dropping 125% tariff on China. That's right, 125%. This isn't just a petty trade spat anymore. Stock markets worldwide tanked the moment these tariffs kicked in. The US, Japan, and major trading companies saw their shares plummet. Meanwhile, countries like Vietnam slashed their tariffs on the US to a measly 0%, hoping to stay in America's good graces. But here's the kicker. This tit-for-tat tariff war is starting to look eerily similar to the economic chaos that sparked World War II. Back in the 1930s, trade disputes between Europe and the US spiraled into full-blown conflict. Could history be repeating itself? Let's dig deeper. To understand this mess, we need to look at the numbers and see who's exporting what, and to whom. Let's start with the US. Based on the latest data, America's top export markets are Canada at $352.76 billion, Mexico at $323.23 billion, China at $147.81 billion, the Netherlands at $82.19 billion, and Germany at $76.47 billion. Now let's flip the script to China's top export destinations. The United States leads with $501.22 billion, followed by Hong Kong at $274.52 billion, Japan at $157.50 billion, South Korea at $148.98 billion, and Vietnam at $137.61 billion. Notice something interesting? The US is China's biggest customer, while China ranks third for the US. But here's where it gets tricky. China isn't just shipping directly to the US, they're masters of re-exporting. They funnel goods through places like Hong Kong, Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Laos to dodge tariffs. That $501 billion to the US, it's probably way higher when you factor in these sneaky side routes. Trump's caught on though. That's why he's jacking up tariffs not just on China, but on its neighbors too. If this keeps up, nearly 20% of China's total exports could be at risk. That's a massive hit. Let's take a step back to the 1930s. Before World War II, trade tensions between the US and Europe, especially Germany, escalated fast. Blockades, tariffs, and naval standoffs turned economic rivalry into armed conflict. Fast forward to today, the US and China aren't firing bullets yet, but they're locked in a fierce economic showdown. Trump says China doesn't respect global trade rules, justifying his 125% tariff hike. China, meanwhile, accuses the US of bullying and vows to keep fighting back. Could this spiral into war? It's not crazy to think so. The US is China's top export hub. If America pulls the plug, say by launching a targeted strike or embargo, it could escalate into a military clash. China's military isn't exactly itching for a fight. So what happens if this keeps escalating? Asia could take a brutal hit. China's a manufacturing giant, and the US is its biggest buyer. If America starts rejecting Asian goods or pivots to other regions like Latin America or Africa, entire economies could collapse. Poverty spikes, unemployment soars, and instability spreads. Developing nations are already pleading for mercy. 75 countries just got a 90-day tariff suspension from the US, dropping back to a 10% rate. It's a lifeline, but it's temporary. Meanwhile, let's talk about Russia and Belarus. They're sitting pretty right now, completely unscathed by these US tariffs. No duties, no trade barriers, nothing. Why is that? It's a curious move when you consider the US is throwing tariffs at over 60 countries, like it's handing out parking tickets. Some analysts are whispering that America might be keeping Russia and Belarus in its back pocket as a strategic counterweight to China. Think about it. Russia's got a massive military, a shared border with China, and a history of flexing its muscles when the stakes are high. If tensions between the US and China boil over into something uglier, could we see an unlikely US-Russia alliance aimed at boxing in Beijing? It's a wild thought, I know. Almost sounds like a geopolitical plot twist from a Hollywood blockbuster. But it's not entirely impossible. Historically, stranger bedfellows have teamed up when the chips were down. Look at World War II. The US and Soviet Union joined forces against a common enemy despite their differences. Today, with China's economic dominance on the line, Russia could be a wild card Trump's eyeing to shift the balance. China's not oblivious to this either. They're loudly calling out the US for what they see as economic coercion, accusing Washington of strong-arming the global market. Beijing's digging in its heels, promising to resist every step of the way. This isn't just about tariffs anymore, folks. It's a full-on power struggle with stakes that could ripple across the planet. Now here's the million-dollar question that's keeping me up at night. Could this be the spark that ignites an Asia-centric World War III? I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but hear me out. It's not a stretch to imagine. If these trade disputes escalate beyond tariffs into something like blockades or even skirmishes, say in the hotly contested South China Sea, things could turn ugly fast. Picture this: US naval ships enforcing a trade embargo, Chinese vessels pushing back, and a stray missile lighting the fuse. Both sides have the firepower. America's got its aircraft carriers and missile systems, while China's been building up its navy and hypersonic weapons. They've got the motive too: economic survival for China, global dominance for the US. But even if it doesn't go full military, the economic fallout alone could be catastrophic. We're talking a global depression that makes 2008 look like a hiccup. Supply chains could snap. Think empty shelves for everything from iPhones to car parts. Stock markets could crash harder than a house of cards in a windstorm, wiping out trillions in wealth overnight. The US might be raking in tariff cash short-term, padding its coffers with every shipment it taxes, but long-term, the world economy could end up on life support, gasping for air as trade slows to a crawl. Developing nations already stretched thin would feel the brunt. Factory shutdowns, job losses, you name it. It's a domino effect with no easy off switch. What do you think, folks? Could this trade war light the fuse for a bigger conflict? Or is it just two superpowers flexing their muscles and bluffing their way through? I want to hear your predictions. Drop them in the comments below and let's get this debate going. Alright, that's it for today's deep dive into this tariff-fueled madness. If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's brewing out there, smash that thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Spread the word. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. We've got more hard-hitting topics lined up to keep you in the loop. I'm dying to know what you think in the comments. Are we staring down the barrel of a war,